Hello and welcome to another edition of Paydirt TV. I'm Dominic Piper. Today I'm joined by Nelson Resources CEO Adam Schofield. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, Dominic. Thanks for having me.
Adam, Nelson Resources' main project is a woodline gold project on the Albany-Fraser Belt, or on the edge there with the Yilgarn Craton and Albany-Fraser Belt in Western Australia. You've got a 20-kilometre historical geochemical anomaly there. You've just ran some ground magnetics over that anomaly. What was the idea? What was the rationale behind that?
So Woodline is an 828 square kilometre project. It used to belong to Newmont SEPA in a joint venture, and we've acquired the data set 18 months ago and identified that there is a significant gold geochemical anomaly. The anomaly at surface correlates to the top of fresh rock, so it is a bedrock anomaly, which is important, and it has massive scale. So if you compare it to the footprint of Tropicana, which is in a very similar or identical structural setting to ourselves, they were a 5-kilometre long geochem anomaly. So we have a massive geochemical anomaly that requires follow-up. The magnetics program really is to follow up on drilling that was done by SEPA Newmont, and part of the issue with the drilling historically is that there was only 77 RC holes put into 20 kilometres of identified anomaly, and you can imagine the spacing on 77 holes over such a large area is fairly wide. There was nothing closer than a kilometre apart from line spacing. SEPA Newmont's drilling identified grade and hole on a number of holes. We've focused on 2 of those specifically and put a ground magnetics program around those drill targets. Ground magnetics is very high resolution, and it's effectively quite cheap to do. We own our own equipment, so the idea of that was really to try and get a better structural understanding of what was happening around these holes. And we've done so. So we've identified in the 2 blocks that we did the surveys, we've identified 2 major structures that correlate to the gold anomalism and hole. And I say anomalism, some of the grades are 7 grams per tonne in some of that, so not anomalous. The magnetics identified 2 structures for follow-up drilling. One of those is 1.5 kilometres long, and the second one's 2 kilometres long.
Now that you've got those magnetic survey results in place, what's the plan from here? Do you refine it a little bit more before drilling, or can you dive straight in and start drilling those targets?
That's a good question. We've always been able to dive straight in. We believe very heavily in geophysics. Every metre we waste in drilling is a metre wasted. So part of the objective in the next few weeks is to conduct an IP survey. We're using a system called Loopy to do electromagnetics. It's a prototype system that CSIRO is using, manufactured by EMIT. The EMIT system, or the Loopy system specifically, should give us some electromagnetic targets to follow up on, and the IP system, which we're acquiring ourselves, should give us any conductors that are present. Tropicana specifically used IP when it was identified and targeted, and this was primarily because it has disseminated sulfides. And we're assuming and hoping that we have the same response. A lot of what we're seeing already correlates to Tropicana, so we believe IP is the logical place to go. The EM survey is potentially a bonus on top of that, so that's all commencing in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Back to the drilling side of things, we have drill rigs lined up for the end of the month. We're anticipating commencing drilling before the end of October. And the objective there is really to drill the targets that we already have, but better define them with the geophysics.
Tropicana, you mentioned a few times there, it was discovered 15 years ago now, and we really haven't seen a lot of new gold discoveries following up on that. Is there a reason why it's been so difficult to follow up that success?
GFC didn't help in the last 15 years. I think a lot of companies got to a point where they were primed to make major discoveries, and arguably we would say that was where Newmont SEPA were with the Woodline project. We're obviously following up on work that they've done, and none of that work is sterilising. It's all early exploration work leading into discovery. On a bigger scale, as I say, the GFC had a dramatic impact on that, but the ability to target major fault zones with geophysics and major seismic programs that have been conducted since Tropicana was discovered have aided us. So a lot has changed in the last 15 years.
And the programme itself, how many metres are you looking to drill when you get the rigs out there?
So we'd be looking to do at least 4,500. The plan as it stands is to split that drilling 3 ways, or potentially 2 ways. Grindle Redmill, where we've just done the magnetics, will take at least 3,000 metres of that. And we have a structural target identified at Socrates, which is our northern project within the Woodline project, that requires follow-up drilling. So it's a 2 kilometre EM target that was identified by Newmont but never drilled. And surface anomalism have decent gold results in it, 0.5 gram in some cases. So we believe it's a valid target for follow-up. So we will likely put 2,000 metres of RC into that. That may change marginally, but that's the plan.
You're pretty close to IGO Nova there, and obviously the replication or the similarities with Tropicana, but you've also got another project, Tempest, which is close to another IGO JV. Yes. Further north, near southeast of Kalgoorlie there. Tell us about what's happening there.
Yeah, so the project, we call it our project Tempest. It's next to IGO Rumble's Thunderstorm project. The project itself had some drilling done late 2018, or at least announced late 2018, and they'd identified a paleo channel, and some of the results were 25 metres at 2.83 grams. There was a result next to our boundary, which was approximately 4 metres at 4 grams. And we realised that the paleo channel extended into the ground next to us. We acquired that tenement. Yeah, subsequent to IGO Rumble's drilling on the paleo channel, they've commenced a very large-scale moving loop electromagnetic survey, which is actually southeast of the tenement, which is unusual based on the results that they had in the paleo channel. The moving loop survey is very focused on our border, and looking at the geology, there's very clearly a geological structure that runs through this massive survey that they're conducting. IGO's fairly much stated as a battery metals company, and we would assume that they look for nickel sulfides. So looking at our tenure and how close they are to the border, we believe that there's a strong opportunity that we have some mineralisation on our side of the border. So we have a geophysics program kicking off there in this quarter. We'll be conducting a large passive seismic program to map the cover, and we'll also be doing magnetics. But we'll also look to do an IP survey with our own equipment. And IP on the scale that we're planning should give us a very clear indication of what's there.
Adam, this year has seen the market give a lot of support to junior exploration and junior explorers in general, and Nelson hasn't missed out completely in that. But now that you're going to start drilling, is the hope that the market will really catch a light for Nelson?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at our company specifically and our projects, there'd be very few companies in Australia and certainly in West Australia that have such a large land package. We have three major gold-bearing faults all confluencing within the tenement, which is incredibly unusual. And those faults, Keith Kilkenny and Claypan, which are faults that trend north-south from us, they've produced or host nearly 60 million ounces of gold. Tropicana currently is just short of 8 million ounces on the Kundalini fault. So we think we're in a very special position from a junior explorer perspective. We're currently funded for all of our future exploration out for the next 12 months. But we believe the smallest success in what we're doing currently will deliver massive results for us from a share price perspective.
So after a period of geophysics, we're ready to see the drilling and get going, and then the share price will take off from there, hopefully.
Well, let's hope so.
Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
We look forward to keeping an eye out for the next round of geophysics results, and then also their first maiden drilling at Woodline. Good luck.
Perfect. Thank you, Dominic.